Welcome to Rise Up in Business, the law podcast for small business owners. I'm your host, Tracy Myler-Crane. I'm a business lawyer, an entrepreneur, and very much a realist. Rise Up in Business is designed to share with small business owners important legal information and some clever tips and tricks in short and sharp episodes, no legal jargon. With this podcast, I want to empower small business owners to rise up and take control in their business. I'll be here every Wednesday to tell you what you need to know without sending you to sleep. Let's get into today's episode. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Season 4 of the Rise Up in Business podcast. And as you know, this season I am bringing you some guests to talk about their very unique businesses and the different ways that they help business owners. And the guest that I'm bringing today to talk to us is Zoe Scott. Zoe is an incredible businesswoman. She is a professional on every level and so talented, which I can honestly say hand on heart that is the case, because Zoe is a branding agency and a web designer and is solely responsible for my branding and my new website. Welcome, Zoe.
Hey Tracy, how's it going?
Really well. Thank you so much for joining me.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I wanted to bring you on today to share you with my audience because hands down, you have been so incredibly instrumental in up-leveling my business with my new brand and my website. And I cannot tell you the difference that has made to my business and certainly how I feel about my business. So I wanted to share you with my listeners today.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear that. And it was such a pleasure helping you with both of those things. I knew from when I first spoke to you that you were a woman who didn't muck around and who were going to be doing big things with herself over the next few years. So it was great to help you achieve that.
I can say the same to you in that regard because we connected almost instantly, I think, when we spoke. And so it was just such a beautiful, smooth working relationship. But talking about women going places, you've recently launched another business, which I'm such a big supporter of. Can you tell us about the Design Order Store?
Yeah, sure. So the Design Order Store basically was to cater for a different audience than my main business. And I suppose I should just explain as well. So my main business, which is called the Design Order, helps establish businesses up-level their visual branding through thoughtful and strategic design. So pretty much what I helped you with. So, we create standout brands and websites for businesses who want to do better and be better and get noticed in the marketplace and basically up-level themselves to new heights. Whereas the Design Order Store is a secondary service where I sell DIY design templates for younger businesses to help them create beautifully designed marketing materials for their business in-house without the need for a designer. So I'm a big, massive believer, of course, that, a strong, consistent visual brand is so important these days for every business, no matter at what level you're at. And the Design Order Store is the place to help bridge that gap for businesses that don't actually have the big budgets yet to work hand in hand with a professional, but they still need something to help them get there, I suppose, and help them get to that point where their business becomes really profitable and really well known so that they can actually go and spend that time and invest that money in getting their visual branding really, really strong as well.
I think that's amazing, and it's something that I'm certainly becoming more and more aware of, which is the importance of the brand. And I've got to say, I didn't realise that it was quite as important as what it is until you and I worked together. Because when I came to you, highly recommended to touch base with you, and I did. But when I did, I thought, we'll just do a quick rebrand and perhaps just redo the website. But I just didn't realise what was going to be involved and why it was so important. But oh my gosh, the difference it made still blows my mind, to be honest. Total game changer. And I see a lot of businesses, because I work with a lot of business owners, I see a lot of businesses that are DIYing their websites and their branding, doing their own logos in Canva, and that's all okay. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency in it. There's no continuity in it. Each page you look at is a little bit different, and then you go to the socials page and that's a little bit different again. So that consistency that no one really talks about really is pivotal, I think, in that up-leveling process.
Yeah, definitely. And also just really learning how to connect with your customers. So I feel like the world of branding has just gone to new heights in the last few years since I've been in business anyway, because I feel like consumers are getting more and more savvy and they're expecting more and more from businesses, whether you're a big business or a small business. And I suppose your visual branding is there to help, you educate your clients on what you can do for them and how you can help them and give them a really great experience. I think most importantly, consumers nowadays, whether you're working B2B or whether you're working hand in hand with the public, consumers want a really good experience. And that all starts, I suppose, by learning, I suppose, about your brand as a whole and your point of difference and the sweet spot, the gaps that you feel for people, and really honing in on them and making them at the forefront of every piece of marketing that you produce to the world, so that it all becomes about the consumer rather than necessarily about you.
That is so important. And I think part of that process, and I'm going to say this here, in order to be able to achieve that as a business owner, we need to know how to use our assets and how to use our branding and how to use our approach to the public. And you provided me with a branding and style guide, and I just assumed everyone did that. It's been like my Bible. It is my Bible now in business, because everyone I work with, from VA to whoever, gets a copy of that, so they know exactly how it is we're laying things out, what fonts we're using, what size, when we're using them. We've got all the colours, we've got all the images, we've got everything there, so there is nothing left to chance and no guesswork. And I just assumed everyone did that, but Zoe, they don't. And the more and more business owners I talk to that go through these processes, first of all, don't know that's a thing. And so they don't have it. So they do their best then, and it ends up detracting from the branding that was initially designed for them. And I can't believe that not everybody does this. This is again testament to you and your professionalism, because you hit the nail on the head every single time. And that document, which I thought everyone had but they don't, has been a godsend to us in this business.
Oh, that's so great to hear that. And, this has come out of years of experience of working hand in hand with businesses and seeing how people fall down. And I suppose as well, just being really active in the small business community and talking to people about the struggles that they have and looking what happens, because you're right, a lot of design agencies, they design people just a logo. And as a business owner, you're then expected to go and use this logo and come up with this amazing, design. And, there are businesses that charge several $1,000s just for that. Whereas I really wanted to just give people that little bit extra help and, and guidance, I suppose, because, I spend all this time and effort strategizing, designing, figuring all this stuff out. And I really, I want my brands to shine as well as, making sure that your business looks really good from the outset as well. But including some pivotal things in your brand guide are really important. And I know nowadays as well, even since we've worked together, there are other things that I always include now in our brand guide that, includes things like your vision and your mission statements, your brand strategy, as in, who you are as a brand and what you stand for and the things that are important to you. And it's really good to capture all of this stuff in your brand guide, because it means that, when you are hiring new staff or you're working with a company that is helping you do your social media or whatever, they can get a snapshot about what your business is all about from the onset, as well as all those key instructions in there that you just mentioned, like, all of your different logo and your brand elements, how to use them, your fonts and how to use them as well. Like I found in my experience that lots of people would give them their fonts and they wouldn't understand, the difference between an H1 and H2, H3 heading and quotation text. So I think that's a really good part of your brand guide, which I know was a part of yours as well, is just to show people how to use their fonts and how to lay them out. So that then enables you to go and create really strong looking materials yourself, which will in turn, help make your brand stronger and more powerful as well.
And you're empowering business owners in that process, which is amazing, and mission accomplished, because you do all of that and you do it so well. And that's a good segue into something else I wanted to talk to you about, which is the common drivers that you and I have in our business, which is to help educate and empower business owners. And we've actually worked together in your business in a different context, where rather than me being your client, you've been my client.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And I felt very privileged to be able to work with you to get your legal documents in place. And so can you tell us, I know that you did have some reservations about working with a lawyer because, let's be honest, there's a certain perception around that. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, totally. Well, you do have your stereotypical lawyer personality, kind of like your typical real estate personality, I suppose, where it can be really scary working with lawyers because you just know that they have the ultimate power, really, at the end of the day, to do whatever and to treat you however, sometimes sadly. But I just knew, like, when I was opening up my new e-commerce store, I knew that I needed some watertight terms and conditions in particular, knowing that I was going to be selling to both people within Australia and overseas. And after helping you uplevel your brand and your website, like, I was so familiar with what you stood for and also just who you are as a person. And, you were one of the most loveliest clients on my books. And honestly, I'm not trying to suck up to you by saying that. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you, and you've got such a great positive energy. And I know that your business is all about helping break down those normal stereotypes when it comes to working with lawyers. You explain things and you empower people, I suppose, to understand and feel confident standing behind the documents that you create for them. And I guess you wouldn't leave any stone unturned when it came to what I was selling. And I wanted a really good set of terms and conditions to stand behind. And I actually remember halfway through the process when we were talking about something a little bit specific. So we were talking about the images when it came to using them within my templates. And I was like, oh, I don't think we're actually allowed to use this free imagery in the templates, which is such a shame because the templates don't look as strong and as lively without them. And I said, but the research that I've done, no one else seems to use images because of copyright. And there was a bit of a pause in the conversation. And you said, hang on a minute, Zoe, I don't think that's 100% right. Let me have a think about this and I'll get back to you. And you did a few days later, along with some beautifully written terms that covered me supplying these images with the templates and being able to produce such a more high quality product. And it was genius. It was so good. And I'm so glad that I came to you to do this rather than anyone else, because the whole process from start to finish was just great. You explained everything to me and what it all meant. And yeah, I feel really, really empowered, and I know that I will be able to fall back on them if I ever need to in the future.
Oh, I'm so delighted to hear that. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. And again, that's me trying to hit the nail on the head to make you feel comfortable and to work through. And this is why I say so often when it comes to legals, DIYs for Bunnings, not for your legals. I just don't think template documents for legals is the way to go, because for you, for example, you wouldn't have gotten, one, the outcome you wanted in relation to using your images, and two, that confidence to just know that you've nailed it, because there's always that, oh, we don't know what we don't know, and if I just go and use these ones that I've Googled or use these ones from my friend down the road, they're not going to be necessarily tailored to your business, so they're probably not going to do what you need them to do and what you think they're going to do. So that's just a classic example of why working together to tailor them to suit your specific needs can be so priceless and so valuable to you in your business and up-leveling the product. So I'm so delighted to hear that. That's perfect. Thank you.
No worries.
Zoe, I'm finishing off these conversations with 3 quick questions, and I'm just going to shoot these out to you, if that's okay. Are you ready?
I'll do my best. Yep, go for it.
What is the best business advice you've received?
I think the best business advice, and I've received a few things actually that spring to mind there. The most important thing I think I've learnt in all of my years in business is that mindset is the most important thing that you can have in your business. And having a positive mindset to be able to overcome obstacles, to get back up when you fall, and to make sure that you remind yourself of all the important reasons why you started the business in the first place is everything. I think that every sports professional, every CEO, every, famous person that you'll all talk to, you will find that they work heavily on keeping their mindset in a really, really good place.
Love that. Thank you. I could not agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. Second one is, what is the worst business advice that you've received?
I remember the first year or two I was in business, I was very green I only knew about design at this point. I didn't know anything about business or running a business or anything. And I remember meeting a business coach, this man that I met at like a networking night, and he, hands down, and I tell no lie, said to me that you are not going to succeed in business if you don't sign up to my coaching program.
No.
True story. And I'm sorry, buddy, I won't say your name. Not that I actually remember your name. I remember your business name though. 10 years on, I'm still here, doing really well, thank you. Hope all is well with you as well. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. I can't believe someone said that. Okay, I can see why that's the worst advice. Yep, second that.
I get really frustrated with businesses, and it's happened a lot to me because it's so overwhelming as a small business owner. You have to wear so many different hats, and there are so many people trying to sell you their product or their service all the time, telling you that you're not going to succeed without it. And it's just so untrue. And I think every business has a completely different journey when it comes to success. And whatever success is for them is always very different as well. But, you know, you don't particularly need anything to be successful in your business. You basically need to be really good at what you do and, again, have a really good mindset and make sure you produce a good product or service. But everything else, take it or leave it, I think.
I think there are so many people that this will be resonating with right now. And I suspect that's going to dovetail into this next and last question I'm going to ask you. If you had the chance, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would say to myself not to be so afraid of the unknown and to be more confident in your skills and your knowledge, and just the fact that everything is always figure-outable. I don't know if that's a real word, but I know when I was starting out in business, I felt like I knew nothing, which I didn't in some respects, but I was always really afraid of the unknown. And I think every really successful entrepreneur that I have seen is always really confident, and they don't mind flinging themselves into things that they don't understand. And they know that, you know, at the end, there's always a solution and you can figure it out if you put your mind to it.
Oh. Love that. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. And I just know that a lot of what you've said will resonate with so many of my listeners. So I'm very grateful for your time.
Not a problem.
Tell us, how can people find you and the Design Order store?
Yeah, well, you can, of course, just Google the Design Order or the Design Order store, and that will pop up in Google for you no matter where you are. And another great place to get a hold of me is just on Instagram. I would say I haven't been able to spend so much time on the platform recently, but I do check my DMs on there daily. So if you've got any questions about anything, especially with the store, I have my lovely admin, Catherine, also, who works alongside me, helping me with my businesses. She's always there to answer questions if anyone has any about the templates specifically. And you can go to my website as well. It's a great place to check out my work and my pricing. And you can also contact me through the website quite easily as well.
Amazing. And we will put those details in the show notes as well to make it super easy for everybody. Thank you, Zoe. I really appreciate your time.
No problems, Tracy. It was great having a chat with you.
That's it for today's episode. Short and sharp, just like I promised. If you liked the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes. And I would be most grateful if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. As always, remember to keep your business legals in order with my annual legal checklist. You can grab your free copy by heading over to my website, tmsolicitor.com.au/checklist. I'll catch you next week. Thanks so much for listening.